What's up, guys? Just wanted to cover Dominick Cruz and his fighting style. I just had to start yesterday I think I watched the TJ Dillshaw fight versus Dominick Cruz. I forget when it was, but I know it was like a week or two ago. But I remember looking at the fight and hearing some of the interviews about Dominick Cruz and what he was saying, like the way he moves and why he does it. And I never really paid much attention to it. I just assumed he was using really good footwork. But after he said that, I paid a little bit more attention to it in this fight, and I just wanted to cover like some of the things I saw in this fight that he does versus, TJ Dillshaw, which people were saying they both have very similar styles. But when you really look at it, I was like, man, no, he's got a different style altogether. And one of the things I noticed in his fight was not only just the footwork, which is he has amazing footwork, and not just his head movement, which he has really, really good head movement. It was the feints he threw. When I was watching the fight, they don't show it too much in the highlights, but I mean, you can kind of see it sometimes. But the thing I liked about him that I saw a lot is he throws a lot of feints at guys. Like before he comes in on you, like he'll start measuring you up. Like he'll throw a couple feints and then he'll measure you up and then he'll come in and try to throw some offense at you. That is really, really confusing. When you got a guy who has footwork the way he has, head movement, and then you throw feints in there, it makes him really, really, really difficult to fight. And in this fight, you could tell, like, after the first couple rounds, TJ Dillashaw was getting really, really frustrated because he's missing a lot of punches. And it's not like you could be mad at him for missing punches because, I mean, he's hard to hit. He's that head movement, that footwork, and then throwing those feints to see how you gonna react. Like right there, he just like, slipped it like it was nothing. So man, I really saw the difference in the way he moves and what he's doing versus guys that fight similar to him. There's guys out there that fight similar to him, like T.J. Dillashaw fights similar to him. Frankie Edgar fights similar to him. But see, those guys are just utilizing footwork. Frankie Edgar uses footwork, a little bit of head movement, not much, but he uses a lot of footwork and a lot of angles. He comes in one angle, he leaves another angle, which makes him confusing. T.J. Dillashaw uses a lot of footwork and has really good kickboxing to go with it. But Dominick Cruz uses really good footwork, really, really good head movement, and a lot of good feints. Like the way he kind of leans in at guys and then jumps at them a little bit to see their reaction, then comes in on them. Never comes just straight in or straight at you. He kind of leans in at an angle to see how you're gonna react, and then comes in and throw offense, which is a really, really, really good style. Now the problem I have with him as a fighter, that was the end of the fight. Of course, he won by split decision. Which, and you look at the judge's scorecard right there. I don't know how that's really skewed when you look at that. You go, okay, split decisions are usually pretty close. 48-47, 46-49, and 49-46. Okay, who's this judge? These two I understand. But this one in the middle is like, okay, which fight was you looking at? These two guys seem like they was looking at about the same fight. You was looking at a completely different fight. But anyways, you know, getting back to Dominick Cruz. The problem I have with his style, though, the one thing I saw in the T.J. Dillashaw fight that I had a problem with, that I thought he wasn't doing good enough, was the counters. You got a cat missing 100 punches per round. They need to be getting counted more than 5 or 10 times. I put it this way to you. If you miss Anderson Silva 10 times, you're probably going to get hit 4 times. You miss Conor McGregor 6 times, you're probably going to get hit 3 times. At least half the time you miss, you pay for the count. In Jose Aldo's case, he missed one. Well, he didn't even miss. He kind of connected, but he still paid the price. So with Conor McGregor, it's pretty. If you miss, you're going to pay. The thing I didn't like about Dominick Cruz is I'm like, man, look, if you had a cat throwing 100 punches and missing you, that's opportunities to counter. I'd like to see him throw more counters. The only rounds he lost, when I was watching the fight, I gave him the first 3 rounds. I gave T.J. Dillashaw the last 2 rounds. The problem I had, though, was when his corner told him in the 3rd round, after the end of the 3rd round, he goes to his corner, you hear his corner tell him, hey, get more aggressive. Because he was ahead at that point. They were like, put this kid out of here. Get him out of here. And when he started getting more aggressive, that's when he started, losing rounds, is when he got more aggressive. He doesn't need to get more aggressive. At every point in that fight when he started losing, it was because he was the aggressor at that point. Like, TJ wasn't coming after him, he was coming after TJ, and TJ was having success. The problem I have with that is he doesn't need to be more aggressive. He just needs to counter more. He needs to go back with his training coaches, and they need to practice countering more. If a cat missed you 15 times, he should be countered at the minimum 5. Out of those 15 opportunities, you should throw at least 5 punches. There's times in that fight where TJ was missing like 6 punches in a row, and Dominick Cruz wasn't even counting. He was just happy with getting out of the way of him. It's like, no, man, somebody missing that many punches. You need to be giving them something to think about. Now, he did do a good amount of countering in the fight, but I felt like he had an opportunity. I felt like he had a lot of opportunity to do a lot more countering than what he did. And he definitely would have won, on all three judges' scorecards had he done more countering. So, that's my thoughts on it. He get that countering under control. If he steps that up, he's going to be a hard man to beat. Not only that, I remember in one of the interviews he said that, hey, look at the guys TJ Dillshaw beat versus the guys I beat. The guys I beat, are still around. I've never really looked at Dominick Cruz's record, but when I did look at it, I was actually pretty impressed. If you look here, the only loss he has is to Uriah Faber, and it was a guillotine, which we all know the alpha male guys are notorious for their guillotines. They train that junk good. And, of course, if you look at Uriah Faber's record, he's probably got a bunch of wins. How did I know? Before I even clicked on it, how did I know? Rear naked choke, guillotine choke, rear naked choke. If you've ever trained, any form of jiu-jitsu, anything like that, and you went up against wrestlers, you know that, like, when they grab a hold of you and they squeeze, man, it is a different type of strength. Like, you develop, it's not a powerlifting strength, it's not a bodybuilding strength, it's not a farmer type strength. It's just a different type of strength when guys train that long, and they just develop like these really, really hard, dense muscles that are capable of holding chokes a lot longer than the average person and squeezing them a lot tighter than the average person. So, of course, that's when I looked at it, I was like, well, he probably just got caught. And, look at all these chokes on Uriah. God damn, I never really looked at Uriah Faber's. I've seen his record before, but I never looked at how he was winning, but he had a lot of chokes on him. Guillotine, rear naked, guillotine, rear naked, guillotine, rear naked, guillotine, rear naked, rear naked choke, technical submission. He's got a lot of them. So, of course, strong wrestlers going to win. But now, putting that out of it, going back to Dominick Cruz's record, he does have a lot of big names on here. Now, you look at Uriah Faber, and he came back and rematched Uriah Faber in, where is it at? Oh, here we go. In 2011, and he beat him by decision. So, but I know Scott Jorgensen, he's a pretty good fighter, and he's a guy with a decent record. He's got a 15-12, well, not the greatest record. And he lost his last 3. I don't think he's in the UFC anymore. But, he was successful at one point. But these are the names I was impressed with. Uriah Faber, Demetrius Johnson, who is the current champ at 125 and has not been beaten in the UFC for that 125 belt. And when you look at his record, it ain't but 2 people that beat him. Brad Pickett and Dominick Cruz. So this guy's beating like top level competition. So I was like, man, that maybe he has a good point when he says, hey, look at my record versus look at other people's record. And then, of course, he knocked him out in the first round. I'm not going to take Takia Mazzagatti, I think is his name. Takia Mazzagatti. And, of course, Uriah Faber. So I was impressed with his record. Only 1 loss, and that 1 loss has been avenged, which is really, really impressive. So the guy, now I will say this, as a fight fan, when I hear him talk, he comes off like a bit of an asshole. Like when I'm listening to him talk, I go, he comes off a little snooty, a little cocky, a little arrogant. It's in that. But hey, when you repping this, you got a right to be a little arrogant, a little cocky, and I don't think he can help it. Like, see, people don't mind like the Conor McGregor arrogance when it's people know behind the scenes you ain't really like that. Like you putting some of this is on for a show, some of this is you. It's a mixture of both. With him, he's not even trying to portray like a really cocky, arrogant fighter. He just kind of comes off like that. I think that's really just his personality. Like he's assured of himself, and it shows. 21-1, it shows that he is, assured of himself that he can win a fight. So, really, really good technique when I watched him fight. When I really paid attention to his style, and it's funny when you watch fights at home. Like when I watch fights at home, I'm in a comfortable position. I'm sitting on my couch. I'm looking at the fights. I go, oh, okay. or you catch him with an overhand right there. Or I'm looking at the fight and I go, that guy gonna get knocked out. And my wife would be like, well, how you know? I'm like, well, you already seen 2 or 3 punches slide right by that chin, and you ain't even see him coming. It's easy when you're at home. You seeing it from 5 or 6 different angles. You in no harm and no danger whatsoever. Ain't nothing coming at you. It's easy to kind of to be like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen or what this guy needs to do to win, and so on and so on. Like Joe Rogan, telling the guy, oh, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. Well, look, that guy's not seeing it from 5 or 6 different angles. Or he's seeing it from one. And in the meantime, while he's seeing that angle, there's a whole lot of bad stuff coming at him. So. But the one thing I noticed when I was watching Dominick Cruz fight, I'm looking at it, and whenever I see one guy not being successful in the fight, I start going, okay, well, what does he need to be more successful in this fight? When I'm looking at it with TJ Dillashaw, I'm going, I don't know, man. I'm looking at Dominick Cruz, and his feet are steady moving. He's steady throwing feints. He's coming in at weird angles and then loading up big looping punches behind it. With his head's never on the center line. He never leaves his head on the center line. Now, one thing I did notice was, and I heard this from Joe Rogan when the fight started, they said that Dwayne Ludwig was hoping that TJ could catch him with a right high kick because he favors his left side. And when you watch it, he does favor his left side a little bit more than the rest. Like, he kind of does dart his head to the left a lot. I don't know if it's in these highlights that I had, but he does dart his head up to the left a lot when he's darting to the right there. But he does have a tendency to favor his left side a lot. Like, especially when he starts getting in trouble, he'll start right there. He starts going to the left a lot. Right there. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's when he got caught. And that's what they was hoping was going to be the knockout blow for him. I think I went back far enough. Right there. That's what they were hoping was going to be the knockout blow. But now let me say this. One, you fight a guy like Dominick Cruz, and he's going to be all over the place. Head going to be moving all over the place. Footwork's going to be all over the place. You can't come into that fight hoping that we got this one weapon, hope that get the job done. That's not enough. You should have a better game plan put together than that. And another thing I didn't like was in between rounds, the advice Dwayne Ludwig was giving TJ Dillashaw. I didn't like when I'm looking at the fight, and I'm sitting at home, just like Dwayne Ludwig sitting in that cage side. You ain't in any danger. You should be able to reach your fighter and say, "Hey, look, my man's getting frustrated." Now, even though TJ didn't do horrible in the first round, and apparently some judges thought he won the majority of the rounds, he wasn't doing great, and you could tell he was getting frustrated with fighting Dominick Cruz. And I think that's the key point that cost him the fight, is that it was times when he was getting frustrated with Dominick Cruz and he couldn't hit him like he wanted to hit him. Because he kept throwing a lot of punches and kept missing, and you could see him getting more and more and more frustrated. That you need to be able to reach your fighter, and when he comes to the corner, you need to tell him, hey, look, you need to calm down. And give you an example, a good trainer, I can't remember the guys. I don't remember the guy's name, but I know Chris Weidman. When Chris Weidman was fighting Anderson Silva in the first round, you could tell that, not the first round, the second round, because the first round he took him down, he beat him up a little bit, but that second round when Anderson started clowning, you could tell Weidman was starting to get a little bit frustrated with Anderson Silva. And he started trying to turn him back, and he started, getting caught a little bit because he was getting angry. And the second he sat down on that stool, his corner was like, hey, none of that. Like, he could read his fighter right away. I can't remember the guy's name, whoever Chris Weidman's trainer is, but I know Matt Serra's one of them, but it wasn't Matt Serra, it was his boxing trainer. He could read that fighter right away. He knew exactly what was going on from the second. And I was saying it, when I was watching the fight, I was like, dude looks like he's getting frustrated with Anderson Silva. I was like, he's winning up till now, but he looks like he's starting to get frustrated. His corner knew exactly, right away, cut none of that. Get your head back in the game. Why are you playing games? I mean, the second he sat down on that stool, his trainer knew, nah, that's not what we're here for. And I didn't see that out of Dwayne Ludwig. I felt like when TJ sat down after that first round, he needed to talk to his fighter and say, hey, look, you need to get your head out of your ass. This guy, we knew this coming in. We knew this guy was going to be hard to hit. You don't need to get frustrated because you can't hit him right away. So that I felt like kind of played, I'm getting messages. I felt like that played against him, that he didn't focus on his fighter enough, and he was just like, oh, yeah, that was a good round. So, I don't know, maybe he said something else to him when he switched the camera over to the other corner, because they put the corner side by side, and they switched between the two. So, maybe when they muted it, he gave some good advice. But I felt like the second TJ sat down, he needed to tell him, hey, look, man, hey, we ain't got space. There's not enough space in this cage between for you, him, and your temper. It's just you and him. You know, you need to put your emotions in check. Because it seemed like Dominick was spilling over. So that's what I saw. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if TJ Dillshaw was frustrated tonight after the first round. I don't know if Dwayne Love did give him some better advice. I didn't hear it though. You know, so for me, I felt like that needed to be addressed as soon as he said his butt down. If you didn't catch it, if I'm seeing it at home as a fight fan from round one, you definitely should have seen it by round two. You a paid professional. By round two, you should see, hey, look, my fighter is frustrated, and you should be on that right away, not taking your time to do whatever. So, I think TJ could have better success against Dominick Cruz if he got better. If he gets his emotions in check a little bit better when he finally gets, I'm sure he'll get a rematch at some point. But get his emotions in check a little bit, and be less of an aggressive. Dominick Cruz didn't fight very well when he was coming after TJ, but he fought extremely well when TJ was coming after him. So, it was what it was. But that's pretty much my opinion on the fight and on Dominick Cruz fighting style. Very fun to watch. It's not a knockout barn burner type fighting style, but man, if you like technique, it's definitely a fighter you want to see. Definitely a very technical fighter, and a lot of little things going on. And that's just what I'm saying with my naked eye. I'm sure if you have somebody like who's a trained fighter, you could really start to break down a lot of the different things that he does, in the cage. But just from a casual fight fan, I liked what I was seeing from him. And seeing somebody put together a technique like that and fight with such an unusual style and have such success is it's amazing to watch. So, yeah, can't wait to see him fight again. So, till next time, guys.